You know, we talk about the deep state, we talk about the globalists.
Inflation versus deflation. Well, I mean,
You're at Mar-a-Lago.
I'm baffled that this isn't front page news.
Do you guys support a specific political party, or do you dislike both of them?
Oh, it worked like a charm on you guys.
Let's go, Brandon.
What is up, everybody? Oh, man, we got a action-packed day today. We're starting a little bit early because I have a Connect with my good friend Andrew at 9 o'clock today. So speaking of Connect real quick, I have a goal this year. The goal is to transfer the information of 50 books to the minds of 1,000 people. And the way that I'm going to do that is through my group called the Forbidden Book Society on Connect. The new feature called Circles allows us to have a awesome, really cool group. And right now what I'm doing is we're going through the book One Nation Under Blackmail and really understanding this web of finance, intelligence agencies, criminal networks, and government. And what I'm doing is every night I'm doing a quick 5 to 10 minute summary of each chapter of the book. We're going to be done with it in about like 2 days now. It took 10 days to go through it. It's an 18-hour book, and we're going to do that like for 3 to 4 books every week. Steve P's in it already. Alan's Toshi Greenspan's in it, and we're having an absolute blast. So get on over there to Connect, join the Forbidden Book Society circle, and you will acquire the information of 50 books with only 10% of the time it would require you otherwise, without having to touch a single book, without having to order a book. So get on over there and be part of the crew. We got, I think, almost 20 people now in just 1 week. So really cool group of people we got there. And without further ado, today we got Trump takes the first step to dismantling the Department of Education. And I have something really, really, really funny to show you about the original bill that was drafted for the Department of Education. It says something absolutely hilarious in it. And they're totally going against what the original intent of it was. There's some crazy stuff going on in Antarctica, one of the creepiest places in the world. There's this research group there, and this guy just lost his mind, started going crazy. And it's kind of like the space situation where it's not a climate that's adequate for retrieving them right now. So nobody could go there, help them. They got this crazy guy running around, like, I think, trying to kill people. So we're going to take a look at that. And very, very interesting discovery about the pyramids today. Something a lot of us probably already thought, but the mainstream scientists and archaeologists just would not entertain the thought. So they're going to have to reevaluate everything they've ever thought with this new discovery for sure, because it definitely wasn't just a burial site for the pharaohs or whatever you want to call it. We must talk about Alec Baldwin's wife, because I'm sure you guys saw the video by now of her shushing him and just like totally emasculating him the other day. There was a follow-up video today, so we have to analyze the hell out of that, because that was one of the craziest things I've ever seen. And oh man, what else do we have? We got these Tesla attacks. These Tesla attacks are super weird. I think they're being paid for, but some serious domestic terrorism going on. And Governor Tim Walz got himself into a funny situation where he's actively cheering for this on stage, saying that he's happy about it. But it turns out that this entire state's pension fund is very, very, very exposed to shares of Tesla. So he's actively cheering against the best fiduciary interests of his citizens. Not such a good look. And a school district is looking to ban homeschooling. Might touch on the JFK stuff a little bit. Trump said something pretty shocking about Barron today. So a whole lot to get into. Without any further ado, let's take a look at what exactly Trump is doing with the Department of Education today. And how is everybody doing in the chat? I want to hear from all of you. Yes, hit that like button. Thank you, Mrs. D. All right, let's pull up this first Trump video. This is from not from his interview with Dana Bash. This is just an executive order that he did today. And it's a big one. It's a big one. Boom. Here it is. All right, so let's take a look at exactly what he did here. Let's see. Can we find a neutral news source? Can we find one? Not New York Times, not AP News, Salt Lake City Tribune. Meh. Let's see what the Guardian has to say. Let's give them a shot. And is this even an article? It's not even an article. Not even an article. You know what? Let's try the New York Times. I got the freaking subscription. All right. So headline: Trump administration president signs order aimed at closing Department of Education. Okay. So far, so good. Where things stand, President Trump signed an executive order that he said would, quote, begin eliminating the federal Department of Education once and for all. Although the agency cannot be closed without the approval of Congress, some critical functions, including those related to student loans and special education funding, are expected to continue to be run out the reduced agency. Okay, so let's read a little bit more about this. White House officials who spoke on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to speak publicly on the plan said the order instructed Ms. McMahon, the Secretary of Education, to return authority over education to the states. USA Today was first to report. They keep doing this Mr. Trump thing, I swear to God. President Trump's intent to sign the order on Thursday. Republican attempts to shutter the agency date back to the 1980s, but the push gained steam in recent years after a parents' rights movement grew out of a backlash to school policies and shutdowns during the pandemic. All right, so let me show you what the original bill for the Department of Education says in it, because this is hilarious. You know, let me go on my X account because I clipped it just for this profile. Follow me on X if you're not doing it already. There's our live stream. All right, so this is from the actual Department of Education Act, right, from 1979. And I'll read the whole thing, but first, look at what the last thing here says. The intent of it is to prohibit federal control of education. Do we have federal control of education right now? Hell freaking yeah. So what else does it do? Or what else was it supposed to do? Declares the purpose of this act to be, number one, strengthen federal commitment to ensuring access to equal educational opportunity for every American. Two, to support more effectively states, localities, and public and private institutions in carrying out their responsibilities for education. Three, to promote improvements in quality and usefulness of education through federal supported research, evaluation, and sharing of information. I would not say they're fulfilling that one. They're using federal resources to obtain some objectives, but I would not say that they're using research and sharing of information to optimize things. Four, to improve the management and efficiency of federal education activities. Five, to increase the accountability of federal education programs to the president, to the Congress, and the public. Six, to encourage the involvement of public, parents, and students in federal education programs. Nope. Seven, to improve coordination of federal education programs. Oh boy, this is not good. I would not say they're doing that at all. Let's see. Did Trump say anything about this directly? Because I mean, just think of for the Americans who are watching, just think of the things that came as a result of the Department of Education. Department of Education. Okay, we got that. Oh, it's an article. Yep. So, oh boy, what do we got here?
87.5 million people did not vote for Trump. Out of all eligible voters, only 156.3 million.
Yeah, give it a rest. So, I mean, think of things like Common Core. Think of things like, let's freaking grok it. What programs is the Department of Education responsible for? Because anything that's centralized, like they're so far removed from the day-to-day problems and the concerns of the people that are far away from them. Like they just do these wide cast things that they have no idea how it's going to affect people. Like you listen to anybody who even like with math, like they have all these weird ways they're trying to make people do math. Let's see, Title I, individual disabilities, federal student loans. I mean, for college, for example, I hear people freaking out about, oh, they're gonna like take away the ability to for people to get student loans. Like the whole reason that the student loans in college is so expensive is because the government guaranteed loans for every citizen, Whereas if you had to go to a bank to get a loan, say like, hey, bank, I want to take out a loan to go to college for my liberal arts degree or for my interior design degree or for my gender studies degree. And they're like, okay, well, let's see. You want to take out $40,000 a year. And there's not a whole lot of jobs that are paying more than $40,000 a year for this degree. So the odds of you paying this thing back with a 7% interest rate on it are not too high. Actually, the most likely outcome is that you're paying this thing off for the rest of your life, and it's not a very good investment. So that doesn't happen when you have the government giving out loans. When you have the government giving out loans, they will say like, oh, okay, you want to go pursue the stupid degree? Oh, okay, you want to change your degree 3 times before you graduate? No problem. We'll keep dishing it out as long as you want. So colleges, in response to that, they said, oh, we could literally make the price of tuition anything we want. Okay, no problem. Bet. All right, yeah, boom, $80,000 a year for tuition for like for these crazy degrees. And now you got a whole lot of unhappy customers. So, like, have you, by the way, interesting thing the other day I saw Harvard is offering to give free tuition to any family who makes under $200,000 a year. I swear to God, that's not a lie. Look at this. I'm glad I just thought of this because it brings up the endowment thing, which, like, what would you guess? Like, what percent of the revenue of a college comes from the tuition? I'll give you a second to guess. Write it in the chat. What percent of college revenue comes from tuition? I'm grabbing this article right now, but I genuinely want to see your predictions in the chat because I do not think a lot of people know this. Harvard, Vord, free tuition for 200,000. Here we go. Oh, very good, Aaron. Very good. I underestimated you. I know Greenspan knows this. All right, so here's the thing. So students whose families make up to 200,000 won't pay tuition. And you know why they're doing this? They're doing this because Congress is talking about getting the tax break that they give them on their endowment, because the endowment is where the real money is. I'll show you in just a second how big the endowment is. All right, so this is from 2 days ago. Dreaming of going to Harvard? Well, the university has made things a little bit easier with the announcement Monday that students whose families make up to $200,000 won't pay tuition. The university said the plan goes into effect for the 2025 through 2026 academic year and is aimed at making Harvard more affordable, especially for middle-income students. Those students could also get additional financial aid to cover other expenses. Putting Harvard within financial reach for individuals widens the array of backgrounds, experiences, and perspectives that all the students encounter, fostering intellectual personal growth, Harvard University President Alan Garber said in the statement. All right, now let's look. Let's see. Should we look at the real reason they're doing this first, or should we look at the endowment? I'll keep the endowment a surprise. So let's see. Harvard endowment tax. Let's see if this is in the news cycle yet. Republicans are floating plans to raise the endowment tax. Here's what you need to know. Let's see. All right. Rep. Mike V. Lawyer, a loyal ally of President Donald Trump, became the latest Republican lawmaker to introduce an endowment tax on Friday, proposing an 8.6 percentage point tax hike for Harvard and other wealthy colleges and universities. Though the proposition barely made headlines, buried under a massive research funding cuts to National Institute of Health and federal hiring freeze, an endowment tax of that scale could hurt Harvard more than any other previous financial penalties combined. An 8% tax hike can hurt Harvard financially more than any previous financial penalties combined. Think about that. Harvard has lobbied hard against endowment tax proposals on both federal and state level in recent years. Now, with a Republican trifecta in Washington, widespread political support for stripping universities of their funding, and a 2017 endowment tax as a roadmap, blah, 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 blah. Harvard Endowment's the largest in higher education, has long been the target of conservative lawmakers, but recent developments signal a growing push to significantly increase taxes on university investments. All right, so let's see. Before being selected as Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance introduced a bill in December 2023 that proposed raising the tax on endowments from 1.4% to 35% for private educational institutions whose assets exceed $10 billion. Holy shit. They pay 1.4% tax on their endowment right now? All right, now's a good time to show what their endowment is. Let's see, Harvard revenue sources. Look at this. Ready? Boom. One of the best charts out there for this. All right, ready? Look at this. Look at this shit. So for 2021, Harvard revenue sources. So net endowment distribution, 39% of Harvard's revenue. Gifts, 10%. So just here you go, take it. That's 50%. And there's an incentive for billionaires to give this to them because, one, it's a tax write-off, and two, they could influence the curriculum with that. So we did an episode about this several months ago when these crazy protests were going on at the colleges. And, Soros is heavily connected to this. He gives a ton of money to these colleges in this form. And when you look at, where's the tuition? Net student income. So 10% of the freaking revenue comes from tuition. So they don't even need to charge you tuition in reality. Think about that. And this isn't just Harvard. This is everybody. So, I mean, what freaking sense of urgency or what type of priority is a student when this is the distribution between tuition revenue and endorsement revenue? And these are crazy what does it cost to go to Harvard these days? Harvard tuition. Cost. Average cost before aid, $86,000 per year. So 86,000 times 4, that's what? 160, 240, and then 320. All right, so about 320,000 times how many? About 8,000 students. I can't do the math on that, but that's a ton of money. So let's go back to that thing quick and see what the difference is. So net student income is $888 million. Where's the endowments? Endowment. Their endowment fund is $53 billion. $53 billion. So then the real question is who contributes to Harvard's endowment? Biggest contributors to Harvard endowment. Hey, Kenny Griffin. Bloomberg, Michael Bloomberg, Bill Gates, and the UAE government are among the top Harvard donors. Now, why would the UAE be giving a ton of money to Harvard? Oh, I don't know. I'm sure we could think of plenty of reasons for that. But the point with this is that like this whole freaking thing that everybody's like so freaked out about having money taken away from, like it's a crock of shit, guys. Like the thing is not optimized for the people it's supposed to serve. Like everything else, we took our eye off of it, and it's serving the people that it doesn't need to serve, and it's taking advantage of the people that's supposed to serve. So I'm all for it. I'm sure there'll be some problems with doing it in such a, I don't know, abrupt way. I'm sure we'll run into some problems, but I mean, shit. Like you gotta break a few eggs to make an omelet. You know what I mean? So that's my 2 cents. We've already spent 20 minutes on this topic, and we gotta be efficient tonight. So let's go right on over to. I think we gotta go to Alec Baldwin next. I think we gotta do it. I think we have to do it. Who has seen this one? Yeah, China's giving a lot of money to them too. All right, so let me know what you would do if this happened to your friend, family member, if they were if you saw this happen to them. What would your response be?
No, I think we're gonna see. You know, we're gonna see how it feels to have it be out there. This great. This you're season, a winner. Oh my God, when I'm talking, you're not talking. No, when I'm talking, you're not talking. This is why. Yes, we'll have to like just cut him out of the show. No, I mean, I think this is a really raw show, and it's very real, and we took a lot of chances. And you know, I think that we'll see where it leads us. We'll see what it feels like to have it be out there, and then we'll see, you know, if people like it. That's enough.
All right. So that was like the most masculine thing you could ever imagine, and explains a lot why Alec Baldwin is the way he is right now. But follow up to this, and I mean, I'm shocked that this lady's like this, because I mean, she had freaking 7 kids and like still looks great. And I mean, I assumed that she was a cool, wholesome lady to like, I don't know. I have this default assumption that anybody who has 7 kids is somebody who's like family oriented and like feminine and everything. Like that was the least feminine thing I've ever seen, except for how Alec Baldwin reacted to that. Like he said, "I'm sorry." Like, you're sorry? Huh? Like, who's the one here who's worth $70 million? Like, what would she be without him? You think she'd be in a TV show if it wasn't for him? And then this is what came out today. There's a follow-up to this. I mean, I don't know if they're trolling us at this point or not, or like if she's just rubbing his face in the shit, but they're leaning into it.
You're a winner. Oh my God, when I'm talking, you're there. It's gonna be great. You're a winner. Oh my God, when I'm talking, you're not talking. No, when I'm talking, you're not talking. This is why. Yes, we'll have to like just cut him out of the show. And that is called, what's the word of the day?
Manterrupting.
Manterrupting, which could be a positive, it could be a negative, or it could be a
Correctile dysfunction.
Correctile dysfunction. I think that's one of our children trying to get into the room. But you know, the whole point is, because our children are about to come in, the whole point is that we interrupt each other all the time. Sometimes our kids interrupt us. I mean, okay, I'm coming.
Okay, go get Carmen.
Okay, so now that we cleared all of that up, wait, I cleared it up. Give me a kiss just so they know that I'm not.
Oh, I'm so happy.
And give me a kiss.
Kiss me.
I don't know. Is that a defeated man right there, or is that a happy man? I don't know. I mean, Alec Baldwin used to seem cool. He used to seem like an alpha. He used to seem like he didn't take bullshit. But like, I'm not gonna lie, this chick's super hot, and like the fact that she had 7 kids and still looks like that is like insanely hot to me. You know, like I want a lot of kids, and like obviously it's dope if your wife could have 7 kids and still look like that. Like she's 40, she's still smoking hot, but like that attitude of like, oh, you're gonna listen to me and do what I say, like that ruins it. I don't know. Like I asked Pat the other day, like, what he would do in the situation if he saw that happen to one of his friends, and he was telling me, he's like, oh yeah, no, like you gotta have like serious conversations with people like that when you see that, because like this type of thing could ruin somebody's life. If you like, I don't know, I've seen so many people like in these situations with less hot girls than this, and I don't know. Have you guys ever been in a situation where you see like a woman just totally like taking over the life of a guy? Like how good could she be to turn you into that? I don't know. I'm gonna read some comments here because what do you guys think of this? Women, the issue with men, hot turns you into beta, and we have woke policies because of beta men. Yep, true that. Looks only go so far for me. Yeah, for sure, Greenspan. Yeah, she's insanely hot. I mean, let's see. Alec Baldwin wife. Type in young. Yeah, she's ridiculous. Yeah, ridiculous. But that type of shit ruins it. I mean, I don't know. I'm still blown away that she had 7 kids and looks like that. Perfect woman would be like to be able to do that and to just be nice and happy all the time and like thankful for what your freaking the life your husband's giving you and stuff. Speaking like that, I don't know. But it explains a lot for why Baldwin is the way he is. But this chick, I was looking what school she went to. She went to Georgetown, Harvard, and NYU. So straight up poisoned. I think she there's a whole thing before where she like fakes having a Spanish accent. I don't know. She is smoking hot though. Let's see. You must have banter with your husband, but a wife never does that in public. Yeah, for real, Misty. Like even like I don't even think couples should like disagree with each other in public. Like, if you're debating with someone and like then your partner takes the other person's side in the debate, I don't even like that either. Like don't undermine your partner in public, especially the wife. Are you kidding me? Jan's hating. Said called plastic surgery. He can pay to turn anyone to that. I mean, but come on, she was hot before that. Bet he wishes he had that bullet back. What, for himself or for her? Denise says a woman like that only looks like that because of modern medicine. There must be surgery. Yeah, maybe. But I mean, look at Bezos' wife. What the hell's her name? The Sanchez lady. Bezos' wife. Like I do not think this chick is attractive. She's like scary looking. Like she almost looks trans. That's the old one. Yeah, Baldwin's wife is so much hotter, and like this obviously he has 1,000 times more money than Alec Baldwin. So there's an element of that that's natural. What else we got? She's okay, but is she Amy? Ha! I'll tell Amy you said that. She'll appreciate that. I know, dude. Bezos' wife looks like a tranny. She straight looks like a tranny. I don't get it. But with these nerdy dudes, like with Bill Gates, with Bezos, I mean, I guess you could even say Musk, like the dudes who are nerds and then got rich, like they are just like red meat for these hot chicks because they aren't used to having girls come up to them and giving them attention. So like the first time they have a mind blowing experience with a girl, like their soul is freaking captured. Are you talking about Bezos' wife or Baldwin's wife? Raphael. I know she does. Steve. Man, you guys love Amy. Do Macron's wife? Oh, Macron's wife would like put him in a chokehold and freaking lift him up in the air. Macron wife. Whoa. That's freaking scary. I mean, the craziest part about this is that what is it? Like I heard they bribed Candace Owens to stop talking about it. I don't know if that's true or not. Allegedly, they bribed her to stop talking about it, and they would give her a certain amount of money per year for the rest of her life to stop making the claims. But the funny thing is, they won't sue her. They won't sue her. Like if if she was really a woman, they would sue her. But if they sue her, then that opens it up to discovery, and then you might have to answer some difficult questions. French vibes. Excuse me, tranny vibes. Well, yeah, I mean, we could agree that Baldwin's wife is smoking hot, but that's like the thing where what is it? Like you can't look away, you can't help yourself, but you know it's going to kill you. It's a story as old as time. But another story as old as time is stay away from Antarctica because nothing good happens in Antarctica. I don't know why anybody would want to go there and do research, but now they got this they're describing it like a scene out of a horror movie. This researcher that's part of this group, I guess, just went nuts and lost his mind. Let's see. So CBS News saying it sounds like the plot of a horror movie. Researchers stuck on a remote base in Antarctica send an email out to the world pleading for help as a colleague is accused of assault. But this was real. An urgent email was sent by a researcher at South Africa's isolated Sine 4 base in Antarctica, accusing a man, one of their 9 team members, of becoming violent and mentally unstable. In the email sent to a journalist at South Africa's Sunday Times newspaper, the researcher, who has not been identified publicly, requests immediate action to ensure the team's safety. According to the Times, the researcher alleged that the male team member had physically assaulted a colleague and threatened to kill a different colleague and sexually assault another. However, South African officials later said the report of a sexual assault was not correct. Oh, okay, just they wanted to kill someone and beat someone up. Quote, his behavior has become increasingly egregious, and I am experiencing significant difficulty in feeling secure in his presence. Well, yeah, no shit. The newspaper quoted the researcher as adding, quote, it's imperative that immediate action is taken to ensure my safety and the safety of all employees. South Africa's Department of Forestry, Fishery, and Environment released a statement saying the alleged assault at the base was reported on February 27th, triggering a response plan that saw the government agency use trained professionals to mediate. The department said that those mediators continued to engage with the team at the base on almost a daily basis. According to the agency, the alleged perpetrator had willingly participated in further psychological evaluation, has shown remorse, and is willingly cooperative to follow any intervention that are recommended. The statement wanted to say the male perpetrator had written an apology to the victim and was willing to verbally apologize to the team members. South African Environment Minister Dion George told CBS News on Tuesday that the situation at the base remains calm and under control. Are we sure about that? Because I was seeing some other things that were not making it sound so under control. When pressed on what else he could do to ensure the safety of the team, George said he was considering available options. Those options may be few, as severe cold weather have completely cut the base off from the sea. The base sits on stilts near the base sits on stilts near a cliff's edge. Why would you put a base on stilts near the edge of a cliff in Antarctica? How much money are these people getting paid to do this? Like, if you offered me $1 billion to do that, like, it's well under 50% odds that I would do that. I mean, like maybe I could be convinced if it's only like a month or something, but still, like on stilts in Antarctica, at the edge of a cliff where you're totally cut off from society. What else? So a row of buildings that the team will remain in until December, the heart of Antarctica's summer, when a ship set to depart from South Africa to make the near 15-day journey to retrieve them. An emergency evacuation at significant cost would be required to get the team out before then. The Environment Department said it also activated a legal labor relations process to investigate the claim of physical assault and alleged sexual harassment. There have been several incidents in the past with the team members at the remote base threatening violence, and at least 2 other members have been evacuated during previous expeditions. The latest incident has fueled discussions about the reliability of the psychometric tests given to team members before they are deployed to isolated station. Scientists sent previously to the base and others have spoken of how lonely it is, surrounded by white and silence and cut off from the rest of the world, and the toll that can take on someone's mental health. Dun, dun, dun. All right, so this is what it looks like over there, I guess. But that's a nice picture. Like, have you guys heard some of the freaking stories about Antarctica? It's a crazy place. Like, nobody's allowed to go there. Antarctica, not pyramids, just Antarctica this time. Antarctica base. Yeah, like this is the type of stuff you're talking about. Screw that. Screw that. Like, yeah, look at these things. Like, I mean, I don't know if you guys, if you ever watched True Detective, the newest season, I was watching it on a flight a couple months ago, and it's kind of exactly like this, actually. Like, it's a research group in one of these things that, like, you know, is being funded by some grant that like a billionaire probably sponsored to do a tax write-off, and they're like monitoring like blah 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 whatever environmental stuff, and like people just start dropping dead there. Like, I think somebody gets possessed or something. Like, we know nothing about this place. What we do know, though, is that there's these weird situations where world leaders go there and don't say what it's about. Like, John Kerry flew there right after Hillary Clinton lost the election. Oh, man. Yeah, like, look at this stuff. I remember it was like a year or 2 ago. We had this guy on the PBD podcast who said he was a plumber, but that he ended up working like for the CIA or something, was at one of these bases, and that they had like this crazy secret technology at one of them. I mean, we don't know if the guy was a fraud or not. It seemed kind of like a fraud, but it's probably like the last place in the world I would go to. Antarctica on map. I mean, just look at it. It's at the bottom of the freaking world, and like, look at that. Just like the idea of being on the bottom of the world. No, like I wouldn't even want to be like this far down close to it. Like, just seeing it would freak me out. Anyway, it's a lot like the space situation that those dudes had to deal with that just got back yesterday. But since we're talking about Antarctica, we naturally have to go to the pyramids next, because there's a big discovery made with the pyramids today. And a lot of people were proven right, and a lot of archaeologists are going to be upset about this one. So, archaeologists have discovered a spiral-shaped cylinder structure stretching over 600 meters straight down beneath the Great Pyramids of Giza. These massive findings, located more than 2 kilometers below, and that's 1.2 miles below the pyramid's base, hint at enormous hidden constructions deep underground. So it was already super unlikely, in my opinion, that people could have built what we see with the pyramids. But like these things underneath, I think that like destroys any notion that this was something that was built by humans with like without super advanced technology. Let's run this thing real quick.
These findings allowed us to construct a 3D model of the entire complex. The examination of dozens of tomographical images obtained from different angles using Capella space and Umbra radars enabled the 3D reconstruction of most of the objects inside the pyramid of Khafre. Below, we present some images from our 3D analysis. The analysis of the structures above Belzoni's chamber are intensely colored spots which can be observed appear in all tomographic images taken from different angles corresponding to the internal artificial structures. On the next page, it says that improvements of the signal-to-noise ratio, revealing the internal structure of the 5Zs, consisting of 5 horizontal levels and sloping roof. So this is the raw pictures of the data that they used to create their model. And this is
Come
the
on.
model. So it reads the tomography with another cross-sectional line showing the presence of vertical structures. And if you think that was pretty mind-blowing,
Mhm.
it then goes on to say, as observed in the 3D model below the ground level, so ground zero of the main structure, vertically aligned cylindrical structures extend for hundreds of meters beneath the Giza Plateau. Notably, 8 of these structures, arranged in 2 parallel rows from north to south, descend to a depth of 648 meters, merging into 2 large cubic structures measuring approximately 80 meters per side. These features are illustrated in the topographical image.
All right, so you got it. Like these giant coil cylinders that like are a mile beneath the pyramid. So if you didn't already think that it was some advanced society that built the pyramids, I think this puts it out past any doubt. Like the notion of them rolling these giant stones that weigh several tons like across the desert and stacking them on top of each other so precisely where you can't even like slide a credit card between the stones. Like that's hilarious that we thought that they could have done that without technology when we can't even reproduce it today. But this is like shows that some sort of like charging station, which, you know, I mean, I know most of you know that already. Like the thing's set up for something to float over it and for it to like be a charging station. All right. So just another conspiracy that's confirmed to be true. So let's move right along to some domestic terrorism. I'm going to throw it in the polls. Are these Tesla attacks paid for or not? So let's see. I mean, by the way, I don't know how this happens when these Cybertrucks are like bulletproof. I mean, I posted a video the other day where like they're hitting it with a flamethrower, they're shooting rounds at it, they're hitting it with a hammer with a freaking what's it called? Like a crowbar. They're trying to like what else were they doing? Like throwing bowling balls at it. Like thing didn't give for any of that. Like I think they're being low key designed to be some sort of army tank or some sort of like army vehicle. Like this would be a badass army vehicle right now with the way that's set up. It's like almost totally bulletproof, like serious heat durability. But I don't know how this happens.
Welcome to New York, where you cannot have a fuck ass thing for nice. Anything, nothing. You can't have shit nice in New York. This is the definition of you can't have shit nice in New York. Because they will fuck your shit up. I feel so bad for this Cybertruck. Whoever owns...
All right, she's swearing a lot. Let's go to the next one. Because there's plenty of them. Like straight up, you saw the one in Vegas. Like the whole thing's lit on fire. So next question that got asked is, who's paying for this? Who's paying for this? Look. And I think a dude accidentally lit himself on fire doing this the other day. Let's see. But here's the thing. You're going to see tomorrow I'm releasing a video where I'm a bit critical about Musk because I think that now that we've defeated, temporarily at least, the socialist globalist movement, we have a whole new enemy to go up against now. The Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, Sachs, what the hell's his name? David Sachs, even throw JD Vance in there, the technocrat crew, that's a new enemy. That's a new enemy. So it's like when you think you're at the highest level in a video game or in a TV show, like you got to the top bad guy, but then somebody else comes along, destroys that one. Maybe they even seem like a good guy for a second, but then they're a much more formidable version of what you were afraid of before. So I'm a bit worried that Elon Musk fits that criteria. Like you ever heard the term technocracy? I'm gonna put that in the poll in a second. Tesla's destroyed. Let's put that in the chat. Have you heard of the term technocracy? Have you heard of technocracy? Have you heard the term technocracy? Yes. No. Oop. All right. So yeah, tons and tons and tons of Teslas being destroyed. Is this real? Oh yeah. People giving them away, people destroying them. No, this is funny. So this kind of goes into what I was going to show next. Tim Waltz being an idiot.
Saying on my phone, I know some of you know this on the iPhone. They've got that little stock app. I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping. And if you own one, we're not blaming you. You can take dental floss and pull the Tesla thing off, and take out. Just telling you.
Something extra gross about that, about a guy who's like never produced anything for society in his life, hating on a guy who's created a business, and like cheering for his stock price to go down when it's other billionaires who are short in the stock most of the time. Where did I see this thing? So, Minnesota Pension Fund, Tesla. Is this the right one? So Kevin O'Leary slammed Minnesota governor over his joke about Elon Musk Tesla stock calling it beyond stupid. O'Leary, a panel contributor for CNN, weighed in on recent attacks. Tesla dealerships companies dropping blah, blah, blah. Is this the one that talks about? Here we go. He slammed Waltz, who told a crowd recently that he gets a boost every time he checks the Tesla stock and sees it down. Quote, that poor guy didn't check his portfolio and his own pension plan for the state. It's beyond stupid what he did, O'Leary said. O'Leary was referencing a report from Minnesota's State Board of Investments that show the state held 1.6 million shares of Tesla in its retirement fund. The report from June 24 and more recent data is not available. He asked, what's the matter with that guy? He hasn't checked the well-being of his own constituents. Well, yeah, so let's check this report. This is a whole SEC file and things through that. Yeah, so yeah, Walt is a dumbass, and he's like, anytime you got somebody who's cheering for somebody that they're competing with to do worse instead of trying to make themselves better, that's a poisonous attitude, and like a real socialist attitude. It's so easy and so tempting to want somebody who's doing better than you to do worse, to cheer against them doing good, rather than looking at yourself and saying like, oh, hey, why am I not doing as well as them? What do I need to do better to get to their level and to surpass them? Instead, you want to pull them down in order to pass them, instead of making yourself better. Like, you think that you're the best version of yourself. You think that you're optimized. I mean, that's prime socialist attitude. And then this freaking guy goes on Gavin Newsom's podcast and starts saying that he could beat everybody up. I mean, it's so crazy that Newsom's doing a podcast right now, like multiple times a week, when like the vast majority of the people in that area in his state like are still homeless, still sifting through the ashes of their homes. And this guy's sitting around talking shit on a podcast. And where is this one? Tim Waltz comes on, starts acting like the masculine guy from the Democrat Party.
I think it's this notion of toxicity
The hands.
and masculinity needs to be separated. And I think it's been conflated. And I think we're going to have to work on that a little bit.
Work
I think
on
there
that.
is a crisis.
I think some of us scare them. I think I scare them a little bit. Why they spend time on it. No, I'm serious, because I can fix a truck. They know I'm not bullshitting on this. I'm not putting this in people's grill. I don't know if my identity is not hunting. My identity is not football coaching. My identity is not, a beard and.
Do you guys remember when he went hunting and didn't know how to work the gun?
A truck.
But I think this notion of toxicity.
Full clip.
a beard and a truck.
But
no, so we have to go to that gun clip now because he went there. He wants to talk about going hunting. We have to show what he was doing, what he looked like when he was hunting. Tim Walls hunting.
And it never fits quite right. It never fits quite right. It's not quite right. How do you give it back?
Governor, what kind of gun is it?
This is a Beretta A400. I bought it when I was shooting a lot of trap because it has a kind of their patented thing, a kickoff. So when you get old, it doesn't hurt your shoulder as much. And it never fits quite.
He looks like a goon. And then where do you say he can beat everybody up? Tim Walls beating MAGA up.
Fight it.
This
I
notion
think
of
I could
tux.
kick most of their ass. I know I can run, but I don't know if we're going to fall into that place where we want to. Okay, we challenge you to a WWE fight here type of thing.
I mean,
Out that the identity piece of this is more important than the actual substance behind
Well,
it.
they've been doing it for decades. I mean, we've saw the welfare queens. They've seen the Southern strategy. We've seen it over and over. It's an old playbook, and we're as dumb as we want to be that we allow them to do this with CRT and ESG and DEI and every three-letter word.
And then they demonize people.
Yeah, demonize and they weaponize grievance. They other people. They talk down to people, past people. They humiliate people. They weaponize difficult issues. But the bottom line is, and I think it goes back to what we began with, is, and I applaud you for this, is we cannot continue to be on the defense reacting to this.
so quick note, I caught Gavin Newsom red-handed the other day when he was with Steve Bannon, and I'll grab this clip for next time to show you. But when he's making a point, Steve Bannon jumps in to counter his point and say like, not to be argumentative, but XYZ just had to say this. So it seems like Gavin Newsom like gets these people on who he totally disagrees with, but tells them explicitly, hey, no being argumentative. Like, I don't want this to be a thing where you're lashing out at me. And so he tries to qualm like the potential for like a hostile interaction. And because I was wondering why Charlie Kirk and Steve Bannon came out so soft against him, because those are two of the most hardcore debaters that will call people out and get vicious during their debates, but they're very passive during the debate with Newsom. So it seems like he says set some conditions if you venture into the Newsom podcast. This is Gavin Newsom. So before we wrap up, we got like 20 minutes left. If you want me to do the would you rather thing, send me stuff for later and I'll answer them. But we have a few more things to get to. Trump said something crazy today. He thinks that Barron's a tech genius because he knew how to turn on a laptop. Look.
Is Barron's aptitude, in your view, business or politics?
Maybe technology. He can look at a computer. I tried turning off his car. I turn it off. I turn off his laptop. I said, oh, good. And I go back 5 minutes later. He's got his laptop. I said, how'd you do that? None of your business, Dad. No, he's got an unbelievable aptitude in technology.
Well,
What? See, he thinks that since Barron turned his laptop back on after he turned it off in 5 minutes, that he's like a tech genius. Like, is Trump this much of a boomer? I've heard stories about him before like this, where he's like he treats his cell phone like it's a was it like one of those like phones you have to hang up manually, or he'll like talk with it out like this when it's non-speakered. I mean, I don't know. This is going viral a bit today, and that's a weird one. That's a weird one. I don't know. What do you think about, like, does that do anything for you? I didn't because like he says so many smart things, but it's a little weird if he's that out of touch with technology, because come out of nowhere and say some like that, like the Panama Canal thing he did the other day, genius. And I mean, I always wonder like to what degree he knows these things beforehand, or if he's just listening to smart people and then like pushing those policies forward. Because like if you don't know what he did with the Panama Canal the other day, he I think he behind the scenes made BlackRock agree to drop the DEI and net zero climate initiative. because we talked about this a few weeks ago. Within the same week, they dropped the Net Zero Climate Initiative, they dropped the DEI, and then they coordinate this deal with Trump and the Panama Canal. Let me see. Let me show you. Panama Canal, China influence. So this is what he meant when he was saying that China kind of owns the Panama Canal, So if you don't know the importance of it, it saves us a good amount of distance. It saves like 2/3 off the trip if we had to go this way. But so where is that one? Where's the one I want to show? So BlackRock bought this port right here and then this port right here, which are like the two big ones. The other ones are pretty small and insignificant. But China, through a Hong Kong company, this Hong Kong company owned these two ports. China puts in place this national security provision in 2020 where in the scenario of a conflict, they can take, I guess, some degree of control or influence the decisions of a Hong Kong company, because Hong Kong is, I guess, like a captive of China now again after their whole UK deal expired. But yeah, so we got Cristobal and Balboa. But who thinks of this stuff? Like, whose idea was it to go after these ports? Like how does he go from like thinking about these national security concerns to like not knowing how a laptop works? Maybe he was being silly. I don't know. I mean, I'm just so impressed with some of the stuff that he does, and then he says some dumb things sometimes. And I've been a little hard on him the last few weeks because of the Epstein stuff. And he did win back some of my good grace by releasing the JFK Files. I was getting worried towards the end of the day the other day when he said it was going to be in the afternoon, didn't end up happening until 5, but he did it. So now he's earned some time for the Epstein Files, but we still got to hold him accountable for that. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think about the Epstein Files, by the way? Like, are you underwhelmed with it? Trump's kind of weird. I know he hires tech guys to deal with stuff, but like turning a laptop on, I mean, come on. He's a real estate guy. Come on. What's something Willie want? Huh? We need this in Canada. Lower our taxes. Yeah. You, man, you guys know how bad house prices are in Canada? The average freaking house price in Canada for like a single family home, $700,000. Like, how does that happen in a country that has like the second most lumber in the world when houses are built out of lumber? Thank you, Misty. You're the best. Yes, smash that like button. And yeah, I saw your email. I'm going to get back to you. Thank you. This week's been crazy. We've been back to back with podcasts. You're going to see a lot of them coming out this week and next week. Busy week, but I will get back to you. Thank you for the email and thank you for the super chat, Misty. You're the best. Oh, come on, Aaron. Come on. Like, imagine this dude who's negotiating these like high stakes geopolitical and economic deals. You're telling me that he doesn't understand how a laptop works? I can't. Okay. You guys want to defend him? That's fine. That's fine. So speaking of the JFK files, let's see. Like, did we learn anything new? I mean, today on the podcast, Andrew Schultz was on today, and he started getting really weird when we were talking about the like Israel stuff with it. Because there's been some documents that have come out. Like, we haven't gone through all 80,000 documents yet. Nobody has. It's going to take a while to do that. So I didn't even jump on last night because, like, what are we going to reveal? It's 80,000 pages. Like, we still have a lot to go. We still haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg. But everybody gets real weird when you talk about Israel being involved in it. And I'm only at like, I don't know, maybe 10 to 15% that Israel was the one, because you got the mob, you got the Federal Reserve, you got the CIA, you got the military industrial complex, you got LBJ. I didn't even see the Israel angle of it until a couple, maybe like a year or two ago. But I don't like when people say stuff like this, though. Like, this is an older clip, but when you have this reaction to it, it makes me say, like, what the hell's your problem? Like, why are you getting so defensive with it? Look at this. Guess who? Somebody who's not doing so good right now.
Popular on the right these days. Sort of conspiracy theorizing that's become incredibly popular on the right these days. It was popular on the left, and now it's become increasingly popular on the right. The kind of, let's just ask questions. We'll ask who really killed JFK? Wink, wink, nod, nod. And then you're like, well, do you have any evidence of the thing that you are presupposing? Well, no, I'm not making any accusations. I just know I don't believe the story that I'm being told. I know not to trust the authorities. You're like, well, that's fine, but do you have like any evidence? Like evidence, not just supposition. I said, well, you're part of it, aren't you? Yes, you're part of it. The reason that you're so defensive about all this is, I don't care who killed JFK. I mean, I do, because it's really interesting, but I noticed that the calendar says 2025 and he was killed in 1963. And so my opinion about who killed JFK has about as much relevance as who killed William McKinley, or James Garfield, which is to say not an enormous amount.
That's a terrible take. Like if what we think happened, like there should not be a day that goes by where we don't care about that. Like, because the same system that did that is probably in place today. You know, like they're protecting the same interests, like they benefit from the same things. Like think about like what was he threatening? He was threatening the intelligence agencies. He was threatening the military industrial complex. He was threatening the nuclear. Well, he wanted to denuclearize. Trump wants to denuclearize. So the vast majority of the things that JFK was pushing for, Trump is pushing for. I mean, Trump seems to be afraid to touch the Federal Reserve. The most aggressive thing he's done against the Federal Reserve is say that they should lower rates and say they're not smart. But I'm disappointed that I haven't heard Trump say end the Fed. Like you never heard him say that before. He won't touch that. And you know, JFK, the executive order 111110, trying to take the power away from the Fed to issue currency, trying to give it to the Treasury, wouldn't be optimal. It would still be the government issuing its own money, but at least the government would be issuing loans to itself rather than having this private weird institution issuing money to it. So, I mean, you can't ignore that one. Then the Israel thing, I think what he wanted to designate AIPAC as a foreign entity or a foreign group instead of like a domestic group. And then he didn't want to let them have nuclear weapons. Let alone he didn't want anybody to have nuclear weapons, and they thought he was like a communist for that. I don't know. I'm just talking shit here about that one. I haven't delved into the documents yet. I'm gonna wait and see what everybody else says, because that's a big task. I mean, and I don't like, why do you have 80,000 pages with that? Like, I almost think that they make it that big to sort of make it like a needle in a haystack type of thing. Like, if you ever see the 9/11 Commission, it's the same thing. It's such an unnecessary amount of documents. Yeah. I don't know. Oh, and then you got, speaking of total freaking psyops, this gunman shows up like outside the CIA right after the files are released. Like could you be any more obvious that something's a psyop? Look at this. Where is it? Where is this thing? Here we go. And like, what should the punishment be for the CIA if like we get confirmation that was them? Like, we can't just say like, oh, it was a long time ago.
Welcome back. There's looks like activity. We don't have a lot of details. As we're showing you a live shot of the headquarters of Central Intelligence in Langley, Virginia. That's in Northern Virginia. It looks like a police presence. There's some barricade up. I want to put that in the box. As we know more here at Real America's Voice War Room, we will update you. But something quite odd, and we'll get up to date on what's happening. That's Langley right there in the box. Central Intelligence Agency head.
So
looks like a large police presence. As soon as we know more, we'll tell you more.
See.
Okay, welcome back. Looks like activity. We don't have a lot of details.
Let's see if they had a better one about this. No reporting, huh? Let's see if anything online. Because they were trying to frame this as if like somebody was doing this in response to the JFK files being released. Police respond to man taken into custody after barricade at CIA headquarters. No, what the hell? Police set up barricades at the CIA headquarters in McLean Wednesday morning in response to a possibly armed man who appeared to have been experiencing a mental health crisis. Fairfax County police were dispatched shortly before 10 a.m. to assist the CIA police. Responders described a man with a gun to his head on a bench outside the facility's security gate, according to the police scanner. While scanner traffic suggested that several rounds may have been fired, law enforcement officials told ABC News that no shots were fired, blah, 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 blah. So I don't know, like, I have such little trust for these freaking guys, man. I totally looked at this as something where they're like, oh, see, this is why we can't declassify things, because crazy people come here and try to shoot us. But like, if you saw some of the stuff that was coming out in the declassification, you know, there's stuff talking about how the CIA would tell domestic news companies to report things a certain way to spin narratives, which, like, yeah, obviously we all knew that was going on, but on paper, at least, that's illegal. I mean, it was illegal until Obama reversed it and made it legal in 2013. So, I mean, there is some cool, insightful stuff coming out with that. And most of it's stuff that we knew already. And it's, I guess, nice to see that we were just being gaslit this whole time. I think at least 10% of people knew that. But I think it's really maybe like 80% of people are just a straight up simulation. 10% of people are aware of things. Then 9% of people are like useful idiots working on behalf of the 1%. Trying to spin the narrative a certain way, and the 1% are obviously a whole different thing where they have a lot of control over things. But I guess to close this out, I wonder, like, the people who are above the people on Kamal's side, on Hillary Clinton, on Obama's side, then the people that are a level above, like the Peter Thiels, the Elon Musks, the Trumps, were they, like, are they set up and squared away for both situations? Like, you know, the Rothschilds always used to do that, where they would like kind of help out both sides of a war, so they were good either way. And I can't help but feel like there were people who are people that we don't know about that were kind of squared away no matter who won the election, that they helped both sides, and like that they saw the path to an authoritarian system, or like a system that wouldn't be so good for us, no matter who won. Because if you don't see the writing on the wall right now with what they're trying to do, you know, open your eyes a bit. Like, yeah, we're happy that Trump won. Super happy. Thankful that Musk bought X. Super thankful. But, you know, there's like this magnetic pull to want to create the world and like the vision that you want. And I think that's why JD Vance is in Trump's administration. I think that's why Musk jumped into supporting Trump right after he got shot, because he knew that it would be easier to help Trump win rather than Kamala. I don't know. It's tough. I'm torn, because I'm also deeply appreciative of what Musk is doing right now. But as you'll see in my video tomorrow, like, they're trying to remove all the government employees because they want the corporations to be the government, which would be better in some ways. And yeah, you know, you saw the thing he said with Ted Cruz the other day, where we could have like an abundance of goods and services because of AI and robots, where like everything would be dirt cheap and we wouldn't even need to work or do anything, which, yeah, it sounds great. It's an easy sales pitch, but think that all the way through. You know, how much freedom do you have where in a situation where they know everything you're doing because they have your data, they see everywhere you go, they might even be able to see everything you think. Well, not even might. That's what they're working on with the predictive programming. That's what Thiel is working on. That's what Carbine 911 is working on. Between the data and the satellites and everything, that's a serious amount of control. So we have to have a healthy level of paranoia, even with people that we trust. Like, you know, just because Trump got in and Musk is doing his thing doesn't mean that it's all great. Like, I've always had a suspicion that like maybe Musk is the Antichrist, because like it's from everything we hear, it's not supposed to be like an obvious thing. Like, oh, that person's obviously the Antichrist. Like it's always been described as something like that's going to be tempting to want to trust them. And now we're in the situation where any problem that we come across, we say like, oh, Elon, like we don't like what Apple's doing. We don't like how they're treating the App Store. Make a Tesla phone. Oh, Elon, go buy TikTok. Oh, Elon, save us from this. Elon, save us from that. So he's got like the savior complex, and I don't know. I think it's a potentially unhealthy level of dependence and trust with him. I don't know. Just gotta stay paranoid. Stay paranoid. Somebody say clickbait. What's your problem, HN? What's clickbait? You're saying because I'm not talking about the Department of Education anymore? That was in minute 1 through 20. What's clickbait? What's clickbait, HN? What are we talking about? I got another 20 minutes. 11 people just talk shit and then don't say anything else. Thank you, Kay. I know that's a story as old as time. Like all the heavy hitters always fun to both sides. They didn't go on one side. That's right. Definitely watching what? Oh, Steph, if you're gonna watch Europa, be careful. Whew, that's a heavy one. That's a heavy one. That'll make you see things differently. That documentary is like so controversial. It was banned on X. Like it made its own freaking website because of how controversial it is. It makes an argument for an alternate view of history. That's probably the most controversial argument to make. Just I don't know, stay open-minded, argue with yourself. Like you're gonna feel magnetic pull to like think certain things and assume certain things, but fact check the whole thing all the way through. That's what I did. It's pretty shocking stuff. Yeah, let me know what you think. I'm excited for you to watch it too. Let's see, what's it about? It's about World War II. I'll say that. It's about World War II, Jose. By the way, guys, now that I got you here, and now that HN's not responding with what he was calling clickbait, I want to take this time to mention again, I'm trying to put the information from 50 books into the minds of 1,000 people this year. So the way I'm doing that is condensing the information down into what would be like 10% of the time it would take for you to read these things. Like right now, Ask Steve P, Ask Alan. We're going through One Nation Under Blackmail right now to explain why Trump might be afraid to release the Epstein files. So I'm making these 5 to 10 minute videos each night, chapter by chapter. We're about to be done with the first book, and then we're doing like a weekly Zoom call to go over it and talk shit, like give our takeaways from it. But you don't even have to read the thing with what we're doing. I post a video summary of each chapter in there every day, and I'm going to do that for about 50 books this year. I think we're going to do like 3 to 4 per month. We're tearing through them. I've read like over 1,000 books. So yeah, that's my goal at this thing. Like, we got a ton of smart people in there right now, and we're creating like this like researcher intelligence network where you could kind of fast track this process. Cause I know you guys don't have a lot of time to read this stuff. That's like between the 2 volumes for One Nation Under Blackmail. First one is 18 hours for the audiobook. Second one's 15 hours. I think if you were to read it, it's like 600 or 700 pages combined for the both of them. But packaging it in a way where you can pretty much know all the important stuff in there in less than 1 hour with the videos I'm putting out on Circles, on Forbidden Book Society. So head on over there if you want to check that out. Hit me up in the comment section if you want a free trial. I guess I will still be generous for 1 more week. Last week I extended the offer. I put my email out on here, and get this. These 2 freaking guys, they emailed me and said, hey, Want the free trial? Yeah, send me the $25. I sent it to them. And they don't join. You believe that? But it's okay. We still had a lot of people join, and a lot of people did join after I gave them the free trial. So hit me up in the comment section if you want to check it out, because I want to get 1,000 people in there this year. We got like 20 in 1 week, and everybody in there is super cool. So if you have any questions about how to join that, I'll drop the Connect link in the chat too. Why not? Let's do that. Let's do that. Because I don't know. It's even annoying for me to have to, I listen to everything on like 2x, and even that's time consuming. So I'm trying to set it up in a way where you guys could do it in the fastest way possible. So I think that's a pretty useful service to provide. So here we go. Let me pin this thing in the comments section. Where'd it go? Where did it go? Here we go. So pinned in the comments section. Do I have these images available? So basically you go to the app, you click on circles, and then you scroll down the list and you'll see mine. It says Forbidden Book Society. It's probably the coolest looking one, but I don't know. I guess that's a subjective thing, Do I have this thing handy? Oh, I know where it is. I'll show you how to do it. Let me see. Just 1 second. Here we go. Here is the roadmap. Here it is. Here we go. So you go here. So open up the app. Click this thing. You'll see the circles panel, right? Then click on this thing. That was back when I had 7 people in there last week, and now we have 18 people in there who are all a bunch of studs and studettes. So if you want to basically know the real, I guess, how the world works, finance, politics, warfare, technology, fast track it all, 50 books in the course of 1 year, 10% of the time it would normally take if you were to do it on your own. So if that appeals to you, check it on out. And if you want to figure something out where I subsidize your first month, hit me in the comment section, or go back to the last video where I gave up my email to the internet. But anyway, guys, this has been a lot of fun. I have to jump off for a next call with my buddy Andrew in just 10 minutes. So I will see you maybe this weekend or on Monday. But be on the lookout for the video I'm releasing tomorrow about what dark MAGA really means. Much love. Until next time. Peace. We talk about the deep state. We talk about the globalists.
Inflation versus deflation. Well, I mean,
Here at Mar-a-Lago.
I'm baffled that this isn't front page news.
Do you guys support a specific political party, or do you dislike both of them?
Oh, it worked like a charm on you guys.
Let's go, Brandon.